celebration and now Congress. And we just want to bless you, Rabbi, that after the unimaginable pain of the loss of your dear wife, Lucy, and Maya and Rena, you explained so beautifully their names and what they mean on your Zikaron. We just, this terrible tragedy has somehow brought you into a position where you've been able in such a short time to impact above and beyond. I was at your home when the Prince of Iran was there, and just listening, I sat there for a couple of hours because I was the chief rabbi of South Africa, and just seeing how you were interacting with everyone, the things you were saying. As you said, it's almost as in the most unimaginable way that everything you've done in your life somehow brought you to this moment to be able to give chizuk to Klal Yisrael. We want to give you chizuk, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, שתנחם מן השמיים, המקום ינחם אתכם בתוך שערי ירושלים. Hashem should give you nechama in the deepest possible way, and koach on a personal level, and somehow to continue to be the source of mitoch imam akimkatichaya, somehow to give not only the Jewish people, state of Israel, but the entire world chizuk, what it means to be a Jew of Israel. May Hashem bless you. Rabbi Leah, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Rabbi Ron, and apologies to Rav Schaffner. You don't know, but I've been learning from your son religiously for the last 10 years or so, as well as from Goldberg. And he obviously learned from you, so we've been in the same chabura for about 40 years or more. So thank you for lifelong learning, which you've given me. Shalom. An interesting word. Understand here? Shalom. An interesting word. Often translated wrongly as peace. It's not peace. Our neighbors want peace. A piece of Israel, a piece of America, and a piece of UK. But shalom is from shleimut, completeness. And you'll be hearing a lot about the word shalom from me in the coming weeks in Yitz Hashem. Shalom is less about peace and more about jigsaw puzzles. Take lots of odd-fitting pieces and think them together to make one continuous picture. That's shalom. Not all the pieces are the same, which is what they call peace. Peace is when all pieces are the same. But each piece is different, but it fits together. One type of peace, of shalom, is inner shalom, or how we can reconcile conflicting feelings in order to achieve calmness. I don't think I'm an expert, but I've had some experience over the past 3 weeks, and maybe I could share some thoughts about it. Now, the question is, how do we achieve inner shalom? And the first and foremost answer is through Torah. Torah and mitzvot. What do I mean? Torah has taught me to daven. Doesn't sound much for comfort. It is. When Yehuda and I were told we were in the state of onem on the Sunday before the first Levaya, I told him we couldn't daven. Shacharit. Now to a 14-year-old boy, his question was, why not? That's no punishment. Well, that's not clear that the onem is being punished. It could be that he's just engaged in other activities, bury his dead. But in any case, I explained to him, while I've been davening over Shabbat, it's been a comfort. It's a few hours where I didn't have to deal with my inner thoughts. It's been a real relief. And every day too, in my book, Transforming the World, which by the way is now available as an ebook from today on Amazon, which sets out most of these ideas, I wrote about this. We have a choice of broadly 2 options immediately when we wake up. We can see the media. We can, in the morning we have 2 choices. We can see the media, or we can go to shul. And by the way, 90% of people in the world look first at social media when they wake up. So Shul is losing out. If we read the news or Facebook, whatever feed you have, then it's all Yetzer Hara. It's bad news. And to the format, it goes straight to your worst inclinations. In the future, when they analyze the Facebook algorithm, I have no doubt that they will find the Yetzer Hara encoded in it. Someone who clicked once on a picture of a pretty girl in a long dress will soon find many pretty girls in long dresses on their feed. And after a while, they'll be sending girls in shorter dresses, and if the viewer spends more than a fraction of a second looking at them, then soon he'll have topless women and worse. The feelings elicited by the so-called news are actually negative and dangerous. Feelings of greed, jealousy, and arrogance. Feelings of inadequacy with who we are and what we have. Exactly those feelings that the Mishnah Pirkei Avot tells us takes us out of this world. That is the media. And then there's tefillah. Tefillah is the exact opposite. Think about the most boring part of davening, the Sukkah de Zimra. We rattle through it, and we think it's from a time gone by. It's not. It's the key to understanding what tefillah is all about. Tefillah is about appreciating what we have. It's a lesson in the emunah. If we can appreciate the trees, the plants, the mountains, the sky, and we can say, Baruch Hashem, we're building emunah points, so that when things don't go so well, we have some in the bank account to withdraw. Thank you, Rabbi Ephraim, for that idea. And boy, did I have to make a big withdrawal recently. In Pirkei Avot, we learn, one who's walking along the road and studying Torah and interrupts his studies, mafsik memishnato, to say how beautiful is this tree, how beautiful is this plant field, bears guilt for his soul. What does this mean? My favorite interpretation focuses on the phrase, interrupts his studies, mafsik memishnato. If we were truly in tune with the Torah and nature, we'd realize there's no hefsek, no interruption, to admire nature during our studies. Our studies are possibly there in order for us to see God in everything that we see and we do. That's why one should bear guilt for his soul, because he missed the point of his studies, to see the good all around him. So tefillah has helped me through not just these weeks, but all my religious life. And mitzvot have helped me in other ways. For example, people ask me, do I have regrets? Things I would have liked to have said to Lucy or the girls. And the truth is that Lucy and I and the kids regularly told each other that we love one another. And that's thanks to another mitzvah, Haggadah. And to Rabbi Ari Ben David, a superb educator of educators who lives in a frat, who you should all know. In fact, he should be giving a session this week in this conference. And please invite him. I mentioned that I was mentioning him. He will make some time if you ask him. We had a question sheet based on his Haggadah, which he wrote 5 years ago. He has an idea of Torah being transformation, not information. And in order to do that, he provides in his Haggadah a question sheet of 15 questions, which you print out and you get all the family and friends to fill out before the Seder. And that way, when you get to the Seder and you get to interesting points of the Seder, rather than asking a question and everyone answering the same because they heard the first person and they repeated it, so just like Maya said, just like Tanya said, they've all written it beforehand, so you have like an engaging conversation. And it works, it really works, and you engage the whole family. You have to do it next Pesach. And we had a question sheet this year. I write my own questions now, and you will too, once you realize the power of this. We had a question sheet that we filled out before the Seder. 15 questions for 15 parts of the Seder. And when it came to Ayenu, the song that thanks Hashem for everything, I asked people to write out 5 things that's special about the person older than you in the family. And Grandpa, you write about Yehuda. So we did. We went around the table, and everyone had to say 5 nice things about someone else. We're a family that never let anything unsaid. My advice, tell those you love what you love about them, and those you're fighting with make up with them, you never know what tomorrow will bring and how guilty you would feel. Then Kaddish. The rabbis often speculate on why mourners say the Kaddish prayer. May God be blessed and praised. And the usual answers are that it lifts up the soul of the departed, Eloi Neshama. But I have another answer from my personal experience. We place the mourner on the bimah in front of the whole community, and we demand that he declares the greatness of God at his lowest point. Surely he is the last person who feels like extolling God. And yet we ask him, we demand that he leads the Kaddish, even the davening. Isn't the meaning of this, if he can praise God at this low point in his life, surely each and every one of us can too. If he, with all his sorrows, with all his pain, can still see the good with a capital G, then surely we can put our own troubles into perspective. I believe that the halakha requests, demands that the mourner become an example during his mourning period for the whole community, and this role brings strength. As Viktor Frankl said, the survivors were the ones who had purpose, and I discovered that 3 weeks ago. Maybe Avedut is a process that is meant to give the mourner a purpose, and thereby take away some of his pain. A number of people, rabbis, friends, people I've never met, ask me whether there's anything they can do in memory of Lucy Meyer Rena. I'm reminded of Rabbi Brover's 80th birthday celebration when he was asked, how did you decide what your teachers, your rabbin, should teach in your yeshivot? And he answered simply, I asked them what they were passionate about, and I told them to teach that. Simple. If they were passionate about something, then words that come from the heart enter the heart. Job done. And there are infinite ways to enter the world of Torah. Just find yours. So regarding the response to this tragedy, I told people the same thing I told the wonderful youth you have here today, the same thing just now. Take that energy that's making you feel grief and direct it into something you're passionate about. Everybody has a project that they want to do but haven't found the time. Do that project. And please do it in memory of Lucy, Rena, or just one of them, as to me there were 3 separate and distinct souls. I mentioned to the youth as well, my neighbor Lauren Jerusalem cornered me on Shabbat at the Shiva and asked me whether the neighbors could keep cooking for us until the end of the Shloshim. In fact, she said, maybe till the end of the year. I thanked her gracefully and I said to her, I'm looking forward to returning to Mummy's food. She said, don't worry, we'll keep on cooking. If you don't want to, we'll have a list of other people in the community who might be able to have it. The new mothers, we'll have other mourners, we'll have 4 families. And I said, Lauren, that's a brilliant idea, so we need a name for it. So we called it a meal waterfall, because it has the letters M, L, and R for my Lucy and Rena. And in Hebrew we called it a Mapal Aruchot, Mem, Lamed, Resh. And I said to Lauren, this idea, if it works in the frat, will work in every Jewish community in the world. If it works in every Jewish community in the world, it will surely work in every community in the world. I said, in a year's time, you could be impacting tens of millions of people with that one idea that came from a frat on the Shabbos of the Shiva. Someone heard me talking about this and said they're professional logo designers. They sent us a logo already, and the project's kicking off in Yitz Hashem next week. Libby and Dahlia, who's just mentioned to me earlier, friends of Maya from our time in the UK, have started a Shabbat learning initiative around Pirkei Avot, expecting some 20 or 30 people to join in. I think we're up to 10,000 or more at the moment. Some neighbors have printed thousands of fridge magnets with Lucy's 7 Fs, which will be given to hopefully every Jewish school child in America, along with shirim on each F given by their teachers. We can all think of one idea, and we can pilot it on our family and then on our community. And who knows, maybe it too will be world-changing, and if it's not, it could change one person, which is changing the whole world. This world needs more Lucy's, Mayas, and Renas, and you can all be them. We can spread their incredible midot across the globe and try to partially fill the gap that was created 3 weeks ago. And Torah study is another great comfort. Those of you who have been following our audio over the past 3 weeks will have figured out that both Lucy and I were Balei Tshuva. So by definition, we were on a growth curve. Lucy had a growth mindset, and I think through her hard work, she passed it on to me and the kids. But according to Rav Shimon Raphael Hirsch, that's also the secret to happiness. In his commentary to Tehillim, I think it's on the first verse, he comments on the word Ashrei, which means step and also happy. And Rav Hirsch points out that another 2 words for happy also have growth connotations. Simcha is connected to the shoresh, the root semach, and sason, joy, is connected to the root sis, as Rav Hirsch believes that the letter sin is connected to the letter tzadi in shoreshim. So from this concept, we can see that Rav Hirsch is telling us a critical concept in positive psychology, way before the field of positive psychology was invented by Jews 100 years later. If we're growing, we're happy, period. If we're stationary, we're not. And if we're declining, oy vey. Whether it's in Torah learning, secular learning, relationships, finances, fitness, those are 7 F's. Doesn't matter what. If you want to be happy, grow. So Daf Yomi adds tremendous into my happiness, which is why I've struggled to get the 6 a.m. shiur before the 6:30 shachrit for the past 9 years, and completed my first Siyum HaShas. And thanks to some amazing Talmidei Chachamim that prepared the shiurim at shul, and to Rav Elephant, who I listen to when it's a tough daf. Another thing, also connected to tefillah, so let's complete the circle. I learned many years ago from Rav Aryeh Kaplan, in one of his books, about smiling during tefillah. I think he said it, but that's how I understood it. So when I say the Shema or the Amidah, I strain my mouth into a smile. I've done so for many years. And strange, if you do it, you'll find that many of the words of Shema and Amidah fit perfectly with a smile. They almost demand that you do it. But it turns out that a lot of research has been done since I first learned this idea from Rav Kaplan some 30 years ago. And they all say the following. We may think that when we smile, we're happy. And possibly that's true. But it's also true that if we smile, we feel happy. Yes, smiling actually makes us feel happier. In fact, the last person to reference this was Rav Ephraim in one of his shiurim. He referenced it in the negative. He says that he found research, which you can also find on the web, which says that people in sunny countries are happier if they wear sunglasses. Why? Because if you squint, that makes your face into a frown, and you feel sadder. But if you wear sunglasses, you frown less and feel happier. Check out the research on Google. Simple as that. So Torah, Tefillah, and Mitzvot make you happy. Sorry if I didn't talk about Eretz Yisrael, which I think is the topic of this conference, but it could be that Avila Da'aretz Mechakim, the Eretz Yisrael makes you a little wiser. And I've had most of these insights since I've been here. So let's call it Torah Eretz Yisrael. Not to mention waking up with the view of the Judean hills and davening with the view of Har HaBayit. That sort of adds to your happiness a lot. Last lesson, Torah Eretz Yisrael, and you knew it was coming. Soon we'll have Rov Am, the majority of the world of Jews will be in Israel in the next 7 years, I estimate. At that point, mitzvot and Tuliyot Ba'aretz will be the right only according to the Rambam. Meaning that Shvita, Yovel, I think, Truma and Maisa will be Torah laws, not rabbinic laws. And then there'll be no excuse not to be here. And by the way, property prices will probably double between now and then. So I'm looking to welcome you all back home for good here in Eretz Israel, with our neighbors begging us to rebuild Beit HaMikdash speedily in our times. In Hebron, Amen.
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 Amen.